Hey YouTube, it's Jay. So there's been a gap in the daily break and runs, and I wanted to kind of explain that a little bit because I'm working on something, which is I have not developed a good break for the current set of rules that they have in the major pro tournaments. So wanted to explain those rules real quick. So that you can see what the challenge is, or what has to be accomplished, and then I'm going to I'll show you a quick montage of the breaks. The rules that they have now are, first of all, you have to break from inside a 9-inch breaking box. And I have it marked here on the table. Now it depends on which tournament you're in as to whether it's the base of the ball has to be inside or whether the whole ball has to be inside. For my breaking, I've been assuming the base of the ball has to be behind in the breaking box. And the reason for that is that the only tournament that I know of that uses whole ball is Derby City. You have to break inside a 9-inch breaking box, so that's roughly as far out as the cue ball can be. They also are racking the 9 on the spot with a template rack. The 9 on the spot takes away that wing ball that goes every time with a template rack with the 1 rack on the spot. So they're putting the 9 on the spot, and then they're implementing something called the 3-point rule. And here's how that works. When you break, every ball that goes in counts for 1 point. Every ball that crosses the head string counts for 1 point, regardless of whether it comes across and back out. That's still a point for that going across. Okay, so you have to get a total of 3 points, so you can either make 2 balls, 1 ball across the head string, or 3 balls across the head string, or 2 across the head string and 1 ball in. Any combination that adds up to 3 points counts as a legal break. Now on an illegal break, your opponent has the choice to accept it and shoot, or to hand it back to you. So if I break illegally, my opponent can send me back to the table. Now if they do, I do not get to push after the break. I have to play a legal hit. Illegal breaks are very, very important, because if you get, if you break illegally and you end up with something like this, there's a pretty good chance your opponent can give it back to you. You have to get a good hit on the 1. Pretty good chance you're going to give them ball in hand. Or you pull off the hit and you have no control over the lead. So there's a whole strategy around illegal breaks. We'll talk about that in a different video. But what I've been doing is, for the last several days, I've been breaking from various places, and you can see all the marks. Well, I think you can see all the marks on the table all the way across where I've been looking for a good break. I have not found one yet. I'm still looking. Now this is why most of the pros are using the cut break. But I will tell you that the cut break, to make the cut break and get 2 balls across that line is tough. It's tough. You're going to see in the montage that I'm about to show you that, and I'm going to speed it up. You're not going to have to sit there and watch me break 1,000 times, but I'm going to speed it up. You'll see in an hour of breaking, I might have had a dozen breaks at most, maybe 10 breaks that were legal breaks. Half of those I did not make a ball, and I sold out to whoever my opponent is. They would be running the table. Two or 3 of them I made a ball, had a legal break. Or 2 or 3 of them I did not make a ball. I had a legal break. I did not make a ball. 2 or 3 of them Uh, I did make a ball, but I had no shot after. And then there were 3 that I had a shot. Um, that I made a ball and had a shot. So you know, in an hour of breaking, to only have 3 racks that are playable after the break, um, there's no way that I could consider moving forward into any kind of major tournament with those kinds of odds. In fact, in many of the tournaments, you have the option to allow your opponent to have the break. And if I was breaking like I did during these practice sessions, I'd be better off letting my opponent break and hoping they make a mistake than to break myself. I don't like the 3-point rule. However, it's the reality of tournaments, and so I have to learn to work with it. So the break that I used at the U.S. Open when they were racking the 9 on the spot back in 2001, it was the first year they did that. We had the breaking box, but we also did not have the 3-point rule. The break that I used for the 9 on the spot, which happens to be one of the breaks I did in the Breaking Good series, that break does not work with the 3-point rule. So I'm still struggling to find that, but in the meantime, here's a little montage of me breaking and not making anything, breaking and making something, and then I'll give you the break and run of the day. As always, do want to remind you, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, ding the notification bell. Here we go. So here's the actual break and run for the day. I'm using the 3-point rule. On the break, the cue ball gets away from me a little, which actually happened quite a bit when I was doing the 3-point rule breaks. I have to start out with a shot. And so this 1 ball, you play this, you don't play safe from here. You have to go for this one. So I play the 1 ball up, and I come off the 2 rails for the 2 ball. Now the biggest challenge now that I've made the 1, so obviously the first shot you want to make sure you make the ball and maintain control. Now the biggest challenge in this table is getting between the 5 and the 8, so I have to use a little bit of left-hand English to make sure that the angle doesn't run me into the 8. The last thing I want to do there is touch the 8. The 3 ball, pretty straightforward. Pocket the ball, come straight across the table for the 4. That's just a little bit of about a half a tip of bottom English. The 4 is going to be bottom left, and I'm going to come straight down the line towards the 5 so that I don't have to worry about it. I have plenty of room for error with that. On the 5, I've got a little bit of an angle. I'm going to draw up for the 6. I do brush against the 8, but that's not a big deal. Now on the 6, I'm going to come off 2 rails. I'm going to come off both side rails and use the second rail to get my leave. I underhit it just a little bit, but I'm still in good shape. It's a little harder shot than I would have wanted, but I can stun this across again about a half a tip of low English to come straight across the table for the 9, use the rail to control my speed, and a straight in shot on the 9 to wrap up the run.